Live from the studios of Long Island's News Network, this is News 12, Long Island.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Ron Corning. Thank you for joining us. Here's the latest at 7 p.m. A corrections officer could end up on the wrong side of a jail cell. Officials say this man, Mark Barber of Levittown, gave female prisoners at the Nassau County Jail such things as cigarettes and phone privileges in exchange for sex. The 22-year veteran is charged with rape, forcible touching, and sexual abuse. He's been suspended from his job without pay. A cell phone call leads to a DWI arrest. Cops say this woman, Jill Daddario, was talking on her phone yesterday morning on Sunrise Highway in Riverside when they pulled her over. They say the Shirley woman smelled of alcohol and subsequently failed a breathalyzer. Police tell us Daddario has a previous DWI conviction and her license was revoked back in 2007 for DWI. And this row of stores in Inwood went up in flames early this morning. It started at the Bayview Mini Market, then spread to the store next door. The mini market was destroyed. The Nassau Fire Marshal is calling the fire suspicious. Here now is a quick look at the forecast. Clouds will increase tonight with lows in the 20s. Light snow will develop by late morning, but quickly change to rain. Only a slushy coating expected. Highs between 35 and 39. That is the latest. I'm Ron Corning. Let's go back into the studio now for Long Island Talks with Lee Tyrrell. Lee?
All right, Ron, thanks. 2009 started off with a financial thud, but the economy is beginning to recover, at least that's what everybody's telling us. So as we head into 2010, what do you need to do to get yourself on better financial footing? 516-393-1800 is our number. Long Island Talk starts right now. Well, the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange rings every day, and we always wonder what that is going to bring. What we want to know now is what will 2010 bring? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Long Island Talks, the show that lets you weigh in on the big stories of the day. I'm Lee Tyrrell. The so-called Great Recession may be over, but its effects are still being felt and probably will be for years to come. Many Long Islanders had a dismal year financially, but with the new year comes the hope of a fresh start. So hopefully 2010 will prove to be much more rewarding. But what can you do to make sure that that happens? Well, joining me here tonight in the studio, I got some money guys for you. Jan Ten Haagen with the Ten Haagen Financial Group in Huntington, and also with me, Dominic Tavella, president of Diversified Financial Consultants in Belmore. If you have any questions, call us at 516-393-1800 or email us at litalks@news12.com. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to both of you.
Happy holidays.
All right, so we're all glad 2009 is coming to an end. Financially, it was one of the toughest years anybody has ever seen. But with 2010 comes a fresh start and a lot of fresh hope. Jan, is there anything you can do right now before the first day of the new year, legally, to either make you some money or save you some money?
I don't know if we're going to make money overnight,
Okay.
But perhaps you should open your statements you've been putting in a drawer all year.
Would that be all your investment statements and all your, and even some of your credit card statements and some of those others?
Well, your investments, your
Yeah.
401k, et cetera.
Yeah.
If you liked something 2 years ago at $50 a share,
Yeah.
it was at 25 for a while, so there was a sale going on, and if you didn't open your statement, you didn't know it was going
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
Yeah.
You know, Dominic, I bet you if I asked a few people, even around here, if they even looked at their 401k statement in all of 2009, a lot of them probably would say to me, no.
And Yanni's exactly right. This is a real big problem. I mean, people were so frightened by what
Yeah.
happened last
Yeah.
year that they went for most of this year without even opening up their accounts. So not only were they not aware of, except what they heard in the news,
Right,
how
right.
bad the situation was, but they didn't make any changes in their portfolio. They didn't change the allocation. They didn't try to adapt to what the circumstances were. So this is a fresh new start.
Right.
Open the statements. Let's see what's going on, and let's project something going forward here.
You know, I always hear at the end of the year about opening up IRAs to start saving you some money and, you know, for the next year. I mean, can you do that between the time I'm talking to you right now and the first day of the new year to save yourself a little bit of tax money or somewhere?
Yeah, you've got it until April 15th.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
And on certain corporate plans, you actually have to get them done before December 31st.
Okay.
So we were just talking about that off camera. So if you have a corporation, you're really running out of time, but you might want to get to your tax advisor, you might want to get to your financial advisor, say, are there any opportunities that I'm missing, whether it's a simple IRA plan, a solo 401k plan, are there any opportunities I'm missing before December 31st?
Yeah, because even though it's the holidays and a lot of people are off, you guys are really full steam right now. This is a busy time of the year for
Absolutely.
There are critical dates, and December 31st is a very important one, including last-minute stock tradings, realized gains, realized losses. We may not see tax rates this low for a very long time, so you really take that extra minute tomorrow, open your account statement, look at what you can do. It might help you out.
So on New Year's Eve, during the day, during normal business hours, I should expect to find my financial advisor somewhere in his office, in her office, willing to help me on the last day.
If it's Jan, he'll be there for sure.
I'll be there.
All right, because Jan says, and we have some bullet points for you so we can follow along basically. I mean, Jan's got a great basic. Start with a plan. Or review an old one, and that's where a lot of us, you know, Jan, you're right. We start, we say, well, I want to do this. This is my goal. But we don't ever put a plan together.
No, and one of the biggest things is rebalancing. I mean, if you start with a plan and you're young enough and you've got 60% in stock, 40% in fixed income, well, at 9,000 on the Dow, then it went to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you had rebalanced, fine, but probably didn't.
Yeah.
So you ended up with 90, 95% in equity when it went flying down. And then when it got to the bottom, you had too much in the bonds. So if you had rebalanced again, you would have gotten a better kick going up again. So rebalancing on a regular basis is critical.
Yeah, Dominic, are we more educated now about following the Dow and what that all means to our investments, and just even if we just have a 401k?
Yeah, you know, Lee, the problem really is this. There's a ton of information out there now available that it never was before.
Right, true.
And it's real-time information. You can look at your accounts and see what they were worth yesterday.
I know.
That's the terrific side of this. Unfortunately, we're so busy in life. We're so busy working for a living and trying to make money, being a father, a mother, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, that the last thing on the list seems to be taking 5 minutes looking at your accounts and seeing what the value is. And sometimes it can be very intimidating. So I would strongly urge people, find 5 minutes to do that, or find an advisor you're comfortable with and spend 5 minutes with him or her and do it.
I think that's a big challenge for a lot of people, though, is finding an advisor that they're comfortable with. I mean, the best thing to do is to go through friends. I mean, ask for friends' advice. I know there are professional societies you can check, but you know, sometimes you still never know.
You've got to find out what the person's background is. Are you on the same wavelength with them?
How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, and what are your credentials? What's your background?
Right.
Are you transaction oriented? Are you towards financial planning? There's so many ways to look at it. I just looked at something on AARP today, and they've got a thing to ask a financial advisor what their background is. It's got a whole checklist.
List of questions for you?
Yeah, and I think we did that a year
keep
ago,
in
too.
mind-
We did
Yeah.
talk about that, as a matter of fact.
Keep in mind, financial advisors, like people, are all different.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there are people that are going to be on the more aggressive end of the spectrum, people that are being more conservative end. Find the person you're comfortable with.
and they should ask you what you want to be. Do you want to be more aggressive, or do you want to be a little bit safer?
And the financial advisor has to have the courage to say to the individual, you know what, you're not really the kind of client I should have. You know, if you want to do that kind of trading, you want to do that kind of activity, that's not really what I'm comfortable with.
All right, here's another advice for you. Check all your assets in banks. And one of the reasons you say that is mainly because of FDIC coverage?
Well, yeah, it used to be 100, now it's 250.
It is more, yeah.
But people add and add and add more money to it, and you've had a good half a year, so maybe you're over the limits. And there are 160, 70 banks have failed so far this year.
So then move your money around to make sure that everything that you've gotten is covered by FDIC.
Right. Absolutely.
We just talked about it. Review your risk tolerance. Your risk tolerance changes as you get older.
And your risk tolerance changes when the market changes, right?
That's
Everybody's
true.
always very happy when the market's going up. So this should have taught us a really important lesson. You know what? Look back, and now that we've seen some assets come back, some value come back into your account, maybe now's the time to go, you know what? That really wasn't a very comfortable place for me to be, and start rebalancing and start putting it in a place where you're much more comfortable.
But I know you both agree on the next point, prepare to stay invested. You know, I think anybody who pulled entirely out of the market in 2009 saw that was not really the smartest thing to do, because we did see some big rebounds.
Lee, we sat here a year ago. Do you remember this?
I
We
remember.
were begging people, don't sell.
Exactly.
Don't be a lemming. Don't jump off the cliff. Be patient. Look at your portfolio. See if you have good quality long-term assets. And in hindsight, that turned out to be pretty good advice. But you do have to be patient. This is investing, not speculating.
Here's the other tough part. We talk about opening up your statements. Okay, check your credit. Oh, that is not fun. That is not fun at all. Check your credit rating, find out what everybody thinks about you, especially after the lousy year we've had.
But you've got to keep that rating up. because if you own a house, you need to remortgage and et cetera. You've got to be sure you're on top of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing you mentioned before is people listen to the media, and not picking on you, but
Hey.
hey, sorry, but the media is always today,
Yeah.
and you got to get the emotion out of it, and you've got to get the logic into your investing, and look at the long term, because you're investing today, but it's for your future, which is 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So does it matter what it does over the next week? No, not at all.
So you got to know how much you owe on all your credit cards. I mean, should you take care, Dominic, of your credit debt? Should that be a priority for you in
Absolute
2010?
priority, and I think finally Americans are starting to get the message. We were the terrible
especially
savers.
if you take a look at the rates that the credit card companies are charging so
and it's
many
gotten
of us
worse,
now,
right?
and it has
It's
gotten worse.
So we used to be terrible savers in this country. I mean, the savings rate literally in this country was zero.
Right.
Now we're up to about 5-6%, and credit card debt is starting to come down. That's what we got to do. Start saving more, spending less money, spend money prudently. Don't have any credit cards at all if you can help it.
But is that good for your credit rating, though? I always hear about
You know what?
that.
Zero debt is zero debt.
Zero
That's
debt.
pretty good. You know,
Right.
I'll take
Right.
that but credit cards are wonderful tools if you use them correctly. If you abuse them, they will come and get
Do
you.
you start paying down the credit card with the highest interest rate first?
Absolutely.
Do you try to get the credit card companies at this point, since some of them seem so uncooperative, to try to give you a break and bring down your debt?
They're not going to do anything until February when they're forced.
When they're forced to.
I
by
mean,
the
they're
government.
just
Yeah.
being usury
Right,
rates
they're
right
trying to
now.
suck the life out of
They
us,
are.
basically.
They absolutely are.
They
That's what it
literally
feels
are. They're
like.
cutting
Yeah.
credit, which is hurting the economy. They're raising rates, which is hurting individuals and
Yeah.
corporations.
Right.
They're really making the recovery that much more difficult.
All right, I want to go to one of our viewers who's on the line. Denise from Sag Harbor is getting in on the conversation here. Go ahead, Denise.
Yes, I was calling in regard to my recommendation to families across the board, of all economic status, is to brace themselves for fees that are being charged. Specifically, MTA has had not only an increase, but mandatory fees. Health insurance now has another mandatory fee. None of the fees are ever explained. We just must pay them.
Yeah, we keep getting hit by fees left and right everywhere we go. And that's that's right. Denise is right. We have to be prepared now for all these little things that are getting us every day, because everybody's trying to get as much money out of us, including state and county governments, as they possibly can. So because one of the things we're talking about, as is one of our points, is also rebudget. And you've got to start figuring all that little stuff now
Sure.
into your rebudgeting.
Well, sure, you've got to do a budget and a balance sheet to see what's coming in, what's going out, and where can you save. I mean, make your sandwich and take it to work. Starbucks is great, but you can make a cup of coffee for a lot less
That's true.
at home.
It just doesn't taste as good, but yeah.
So it's a treat, right, Lee? You
Yeah,
use
yeah.
it maybe instead of
Yeah.
every day, or once every other day,
Once
or
every
once a
other
week.
day.
You know,
Right.
we just have to modify our lifestyles a little bit. No one's saying become a pauper or close the doors down.
Right.
But we did get the whole country as a whole. We got a little bit of excess going on there for a while.
We
And now
were having fun.
we were having
We were
fun.
having a really good time.
We were using our homes as cash registers,
They were.
right? Home equity
They
loans,
were.
borrowing, and look, we got to have a little reality check here, and that's really why we got
We
into the
had one,
problems.
Dominic. Boy, did we ever.
But the good news here is 90% of the people in this country are paying their mortgages on time. So there is a solid foundation, a solid economic foundation in
Yeah,
this
but we
country.
still have a 10% unemployment rate.
And it's going to
It's
be that
coming
way
down.
for a long time.
But
it
it's
really
it's
is.
starting to come down.
It's
starting
coming
to
down, but
consolidate.
if we look at where we lost the jobs, and I think that's part where Washington doesn't focus. Oh, we want to get unemployment down. But we lost the jobs in construction, primarily. Those jobs aren't going to come back for a long time. We lost the jobs in automobile manufacturing.
Right,
those
right.
jobs
Oh,
aren't going
those
to
are
come
so
back.
many of them are
Financial
gone.
services companies, we're still losing banks almost every week, and those jobs aren't going to come back. So we can see unemployment here very high, and I'm not saying 10%, but very high for a very long time. We have to plan for that in our own investment portfolios, in our own household budgets.
Okay, when we come back, I also want to talk about, about paying attention to your cash and savings accounts, what you need to do there. Financial planning for a more prosperous 2010. What do we need to do to get our houses in order? 516-393-1800 is our number. We're going to take some more calls also when we come back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Long Island Talks. What steps should we be taking financially as we enter the new year? Joining me to answer some of those questions, John Haagen with the Haagen Financial Group in Huntington, and also Dominic Tyrrell, president of Diversified Financial Consultants in Belmore. We skipped over one point that I want to get back to because it's important. Pay attention to your cash is one of the bullet points we were talking about. You should have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in case your job situation goes south, which so many people have seen. Okay, definitely. But along those lines, I want to ask the both of you, because I've been reading a lot about this, that there's really no point anymore in having an old-fashioned savings account, except with that emergency money funding in it. That it, you know, although one of our viewers, I have to read this, writes in, Pat from Levittown, a safer spot for your money is in a 5-pound coffee can buried in your backyard. Says that every nickel you can to make, save every nickel you can to make ends meet. I don't believe in putting money in the bank. That creates jobs for others. Save your own money. Okay, so along those lines, we definitely need to have an emergency reserve.
Absolutely.
But do we need to have a good old-fashioned savings account anymore?
No. Why? They don't pay you anything. They're taxable. Doesn't make sense.
For that emergency money, yes.
Yeah.
Only because it's easily accessible. So whether it's using a debit card, an ATM card, you need, the whole premise of that emergency fund is it's liquid, it's available, and it's there quickly if there's an emergency. So for those monies, I believe a bank account, it should be there, should be used.
Remember, 3 to 6 months worth of living
See,
expenses.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
I think it has to be at least 9 months.
9 months,
Yes.
huh? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Because how long is it taking you to find a new job? And if you're getting
Longer than
older,
ever now.
if you're getting older, closer to retirement, I would stretch that up to a year and a half, 2 years.
If you can do it.
Because look what happened to some people. They had 3 to 9, and it's gone a long time ago. And I don't agree with staying in a bank, because emergency money is something that you can turn into cash within 30 days. Because you put it on a credit card, you have to pay it in 30 days.
Right.
So you can get a lot better returns in other areas than in a savings account.
Such as?
Short-term municipals, treasuries, agency paper. There's an awful lot of things where you can get 2.5%, where in the savings you're not even getting 0.5%.
Because my mom and dad, what was drilled into their mind all the time was save, save, save. Build up that savings account as much as you possibly
And Lee,
can.
that's exactly
agree.
the problem, though. We're dealing with individuals who all they've ever known is the bank, right?
Right.
So, and that's where their comfort zone is.
Right,
so,
sure.
he's absolutely correct. We can find tools out there that can generate some more yield, some more return for that individual. But if they're not comfortable, and this is one of my favorite lines, if we make you 0.5% more, 1% more, but you can't sleep at night, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, there absolutely are terrific tools out there that we could use to generate more revenue for our clients. But at the end of the night, you got to be able to sleep with it.
All right, let's go to Great Neck. 1 minute, Jan. Sure. Let's go to Great Neck and try to help Polly out. She's got a question for us. Welcome, Polly.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
My husband passed away last year.
Sorry.
And yes, I'd like to know whether I should notify these credit rating companies of his death, or do they somehow know, or have they been notified?
Do you mean the credit rating companies?
Yes.
Okay. Were both of your names on the credit cards and pretty much everything in both your names?
Well, now everything is in my name. I think that changed.
Okay. Well, thank you, Polly. That's a great question. What do you do in a situation like that?
I would probably notify them.
Notify the credit rating
Sure.
agencies.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not something that they would automatically be notified of themselves, but I guess you shouldn't take that chance.
Exactly.
Because that could wind up hurting your credit rating quite a bit in case.
They may pick it up over time, but get it clear and defined and move on.
Yeah, that's part of getting your house in order in 2010. Call the credit rating companies and make sure any major changes in your life that will affect your credit rating are taken care of directly from you. Don't wait, Polly, for somebody else to make sure that that's taken care of. Our final bullet point is such an important one. Check your retirement. Take a look at that 401k or whatever else you got your retirement money stashed away in. Find out how much money you lost or you made in 2009. And then readjust, because boy, your retirement's coming sooner than you think, probably, or in some cases now, much later than you wanted it to be, right? Check.
Well, Jan brought this up last time about rebalancing, right?
Yeah.
And typically the way people manage their portfolios, they look at last year's winners, right? Oh, this did good, so they take their assets, they dump it into that bucket, and of course, last year's winner typically is not this year's winner.
Right.
So you really have to look at this thing, you have to look at how your allocation is set up, and then look forward, not backwards.
All right. If you'd like some more information on tonight, tonight's show, just visit our website at news12.com, and you can click on numbers and links. We'll be able to get you in touch with these two guys by doing that. You're watching Long Island Talks here on News 12 Long Island. Welcome back to Long Island Talks. Tonight we're trying to get you off to a fresh financial start for 2010 by, just getting your money house in order, because 09 was a tough year. Let's go to Aviva from Plainview, who's got a question for us about checking credit. Go ahead, Aviva.
Hi. My question is, a while ago, my son had got laid off work, and he didn't pay 2 payments on his credit card.
Yeah.
And that's penalized him.
Right.
But I was his cosign.
Oof.
Without me knowing, they didn't
coming.
even notify me. That, like, if they will notify me, I will pay the payment. I will make the payment for him.
Right.
But they never notify me.
Right.
And then they put a red cross on my credit line, my credit bureau, and I can't get it off me. And I wrote him a letter. I did anything that I did, they did not accept that. And I don't know how I'm being penalized for something.
You bring up a great point, Aviva. Thank you so much. And that's one of the reasons why Jan said you've got to check your credit at the beginning of 2010. You know what? The banks put the onus on us completely. It is entirely up to us to check our credit, who we've co-signed for, and what they're penalizing us for and with. They don't have...
But Lee, let's stress the point that this woman brought up. I mean, we see this all the time. A child will go get a car loan or a credit card, and as a parent, you feel responsible, you want to help them out, and you go and co-sign.
Right.
When they miss a payment, they're late on that payment, that credit report comes back, boomerangs back to the parent.
Right.
We tell our clients, give them the money. Give it to them. I don't care.
Seriously,
but don't jeopardize your entire credit history because you have a son or a daughter that's late on a car
Because
payment.
once the late payments happen, just like Aviva said, nobody's notifying you, the co-signer, that that's happening.
Right. And you get a free credit check every year.
Yeah, you
so
do get a free credit
do
check
it every year.
Yeah, you guys have both been so invaluable over 2009 helping us out with this. As we go into the new decade, I welcome you both back to help us out. And
Thank
also,
you.
so
Yeah,
happy New
thank you.
Year.
Anytime.
Delighted.
Let us have a little bit more profit in 2010 for everybody. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Dominic. If you'd like some more information, as we said, go to the website. Colin McVeigh is up next with your live Long Island news.